In today's warm-up, we're going to move on to using those laws of exponents that we've started learning about. We're going to be using that and applying it to combining like terms, and at the end we're going to just simplify an expression, which is something that we have been doing. So when I look at this, I need to identify all of the parts here. So we know that this right here is division, and we have some exponents here. This is going to end up being like the distributive property. So the question is, where do we start? Parentheses. Well, there's truly nothing to be done inside of the parentheses, so we're done with the parentheses. So then we move on to exponents, which is right here. And I say to myself, well, what's happening here in this exponent? I've got 5m inside the parentheses, which means that everything inside the parentheses is being squared. So in other words, I've got 5 times 5, that's squaring 5, times m times m. Well, what does that mean? 5 times 5, of course, is 25. And m times m is m squared. And then I bring down the rest of this problem. So I've got m to the 5th divided by m to the 3rd plus 3m squared minus the quantity of m to the 4th power. Oh goodness, I don't have enough room here. Okay, I'm going to move this over. We know that that says 25m squared, but I want to make sure that I have enough room for my minus 9, which is what's next, minus 9 plus 25m squared. Okay, so I've done my parentheses, I've done my exponents, multiplication and division in order from left to right. Okay, first thing I get to is right here. I've got division. What's my rule? When I'm dividing, I've got same bases that are being divided, and I've got this one's to the 5th, this one's to the 3rd. Well, you should know by now that the rule is that we subtract those exponents. So I'd have m to the 5 minus 3 power. And 5 minus 3, of course, is 2, so I've got m to the 2nd power. Bring down the rest of my problem. I've got plus 3m squared minus the quantity of m to the 4th power minus 9 plus 25m squared. Okay, so going right through this, you're like, well, there's nothing else to do. You need to make sure you pay attention to this right here. That is, for all intents and purposes, being multiplied by what's inside these parentheses. So in other words, anything that's inside the parentheses is going to be the opposite. And in this case, that's a positive m to the 4th, so it becomes negative m to the 4th or minus m to the 4th. I know some of you are still getting frustrated with that. Minus is the same as negative, but you'll get used to it soon. And now I'm simply bringing down the rest of my problem. Okay, so now I've taken care of all the multiplication and division, so I'm looking at addition and subtraction. In other words, I need to take a look at what's being added and subtracted here and decide what's the same, what can actually go together, and what cannot. So let's take a look at this. This is an m squared. I'm going to put that in a box. Also, plus 3m squared. Again, another m squared. Minus m to the 4th. You have to ask yourself, is m to the 2nd power the same as m to the 4th? Oh, no, Mrs. De Silva, I'm confused. Well, let me ask you this. Is 5 to the 2nd power the same as 5 to the 4th power? I'm sure you know the answer to that is no. So therefore, these two things are not the same. To the 2nd power and to the 4th power, not the same. So I'm going to underline this. Minus 9. This is a constant. It doesn't have any variables with it. I'm actually going to circle that. plus 25m squared. I'm putting that in a box. Do not forget when you sort them to put the addition subtraction sign in front of each of those so that you know what to do with them. So now, of course, I'm going to reorganize. I'm going to put all my boxes together here. I've got m to the second power plus 3m to the second power plus 25m squared. All of that goes in a box. And I'm actually going to shift now to my next page, and I'm going to bring all of this with me. So inside the box, let's remember we had m squared plus 3m squared plus 25m squared. All of these are m squareds, so they are the same, so therefore they can go together. So if I've got 1m squared, I know there's no 1 in front of that. Remember, that's our ninja 1. It's there, but we can't see it. Shh. The ninja 1. Okay. 1m squared plus 3m squared. Well, that, of course, would give me 4m squareds plus 25 more m squareds. 4m squareds plus 25m squareds. That, of course, is 29m squared. And then I had, the rest of my problem was, I had minus m to the fourth minus 9. As you recall, you should recall anyway, we underlined the negative m to the fourth, and we circled minus 9, or negative 9, because again, they're not the same. So you're just simply going to bring this down, minus m to the fourth minus 9. Now, for all intents and purposes, this is a correct answer. However, we're supposed to always keep those exponents in order from the greatest to the least. So what that means is that to truly have it in the correct format, even though, again, this is correct, to truly have it in the correct format, we need to start with m to the fourth. Do not forget the negative in front of it. Negative m to the fourth power. So that's my highest exponent. Next would be 29m squared. Well, I can't just plop a 29m squared next to it. I have to understand that that's really positive. Again, it's not there, but it is there. It exists. So plus 29m squared. The only other thing that I have left is my minus 9. That is a constant. It has no variables. It cannot be combined with anything in this particular expression. So this is the most simplified version of what we started with. And there you go.